welcome to the second instalment of Christmas paper crafts. I'm Esther Miles, the artist in residence for East Kent Schools Together. This week I'm going to be showing you 2 origami Christmas table decorations. While I really do enjoy a long and involved and messy craft project, origami is great when you don't have much time and you don't want to get out all of the apparatus and glue and just want to make something really quickly. I find it the perfect way to relax at the end of the day. Now, these 2 projects both have the advantage of looking really complicated but actually being quite easy. They also make really nice Christmas decorations. Our first make are these napkin elf booties. Of course, you can make these out of normal origami paper, but the napkin gives it that lovely slouchy look that I think is quite realistic for elf boots. So for this, we just need 1 napkin. Now, you might find it useful to pause the video every now and then to catch up. I'm going to start by completely unfolding the paper napkin. Now you'll notice these fold lines along the napkin. Those are going to be really useful later. So what I'm going to do first is fold this bottom corner up to meet the middle. And secure that. I'm then going to fold the top piece down to meet the middle. Then I'm going to fold the whole thing in half. There we go. Now here's where that crease comes in handy because we need to know our centre point. I'm going to start by taking the right hand top corner and just letting that top line meet up with that central fold there. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. You can see we have this kind of arrow shape. Now I'm going to take this corner and make it so that this line meets this central line here. And it will start to look a bit like a paper aeroplane. Now I'm going to fold the whole thing in on itself in half, like that. Pressing that down firmly. So when we've got to this stage, I'm just going to turn it 90 degrees. Now you'll notice we've kind of got 2 flaps here. I'm just going to lift the top flap so that this line meets this line here. And crease that nicely. Now eventually this piece needs to go into here, so it needs to be a bit smaller. I'm going to fold this point down and crease. Now here's a slightly fiddly bit. It's not hard, but it is a bit fiddly. You'll notice here there's a little pocket. I can put my finger in it. What we want is to tuck this into that pocket. And of course the advantage of the paper napkin is that it's quite a lot more flexible than paper. So you can see we've actually got the basics of our boot here, but what we want is it to look a bit more lived in and a bit more 3D. And how we can do this is stand it up and just pull it apart a little bit there. And to get a more elfy look, what we can do is just curl up the toe. And at the top, we want to just round it out a bit so that it looks like you could get a leg in there. And there it is! Really quick. They make really wonderful table decorations. Not much use for actual napkins, but gorgeous nonetheless. They're the perfect thing to make after a long Christmas lunch. And this pocket here is nicely sized to fit a few Smarties in, I think. Obviously, I like to make two. These wonderfully textured Christmas trees are one of my favourite origami folds. In fact, origami purists might be a bit cross with me for calling it origami because it does actually involve cutting, which apparently is a big no-no. But since it's Christmas, I'm going to throw caution to the wind. Don't worry if you don't have any origami paper. You can use normal A4 piece of paper to make a square. I'll show you how. You want to fold the top right-hand corner downwards so that the top line meets the edge line. Now, just going to fold along there, fold it back and crease neatly. And all you want to do now is cut that remainder off. And you'll have a perfect square. I'm going to demonstrate on origami paper for clarity. First of all, we need to fold the paper into quarters and unfold it again. I'm going to put it coloured side down. Fold the bottom to meet the top. Crease it nice and sharp and unfold it again. Then I'm going to swivel it around. Fold the bottom to the top again. And a nice, sharp, accurate crease. And unfold. Now I'm going to swivel the paper 45 degrees. I'm going to fold on the diagonal the piece of paper in half to make a big right angle triangle. You want to be as accurate as possible here. You'll thank yourself later. You also want to make those lines quite sharp, so either with the back of your thumb, or some people like to pinch like this. Now I'm going to fold that in half again to make another right angle triangle. And swivel at 90 degrees. Now you notice you've got a top flap here. I'm going to show you how to do a squash fold at this point. So you want to open it up and place your finger inside like that. Then it's called a squash fold because you just squash it down to make a diamond. Creasing nicely. Turn the whole piece over. And we're going to do that same thing again. So fold it into the middle, put the little finger in the pocket and squash it down. We've essentially made another little square on the diagonal here. Now we're actually going to continue with quite a few more squash folds now. It's the same sort of principle. I'm going to lift this top flap up. You'll notice we've got a few pages now. This flap's going to be squashed down. So again, I'm going to put my finger in the pocket and then squash it down. We want this crease to meet this crease here. And it makes a kind of kite shape. Creasing nice and firmly. Now, like the page of a book, I'm going to turn this right flap over. I'm then going to make another squash fold with this piece. And I'm going to turn the whole thing over. And it should look like this. Then I'm going to pull my page up again. Make a third squash fold. Creasing nicely. Turn the page. And we're on our last squash fold now. Into the centre, finger in, and squash down with those central lines matching. There. Now, we don't want this triangle at the bottom, so I'm going to cut it off. To make the textured edge of our Christmas trees, we need to make 4 equally spaced cuts down the tree. So I'm going to start at the top. What is very important is not to get too close to this central fold here, otherwise you'll hack the top off or make it quite weak. So I'm going to stop a good 2 mil or so in from there. And the next one. And next. And final. Now I say evenly spaced, but you don't have to get a ruler or anything out. You can just judge it by eye. And then I'm going to do that on the other side as well to match up. Top one's the one that's easiest to cut too far on, so do be mindful of that. There we go. Lay that down there. I'm going to show you now that with all of that folding and squashing that we've done, we've actually created lots of different sort of pages here, like the pages of a book. There's 4 on each side. I'm going to try and keep them separate as I start to fold these little bits down. So we're ignoring that top triangle. The one down, I'm just going to fold it over like that. There's the top one. So I'm just folding through one of the layers of paper at the moment. There's the second one, the third, and the fourth. Now that we've done those right hand folds, I'm going to turn the page over to the left. And that's going to reveal our next page, which I'm going to carefully fold down in exactly the same way. I'm going to turn my second page over and do it again. Now we're on to the final page of this side. I'm just going to continue in exactly the same way. Now I'm going to turn the entire thing over and do the same thing 4 more times for the 4 remaining pages. Might have to separate them out a little bit first. And here's the amazing bit. I'm going to stand it up and then just start to pull all of those pages out, and you'll start to see it's a wonderfully 3D Christmas tree. Of course, you can make any size you like. I made this tiny one here, and of course this enormous one here. If you're making a small one, maybe just make 3 incisions down the side, whereas if you're making a big one, you can do loads for a really textured look. The East Kent Schools Together website has the full instructions of these, so do take a look for those. Thanks so much for folding along with me. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, if you've made anything you're proud of, please do send it through. I'd love to see it. Join me next time for a longer and messier make when I teach you how to make paper Christmas wreaths. Bye!